story is brought to us by NBCnews.com. All right, now this is out of the Minneapolis area. Remember the shooting of Daunte Wright? And the officer was actually convicted. It was Kim Potter, right? Well, his mother is now in the news. Police in suburban Minneapolis continued to respond over the weekend to news that an officer confronted Daunte Wright's mother for stopping on a highway shoulder and recording officers. It's not illegal, as long as you have your hazards on, to stop on any highway on the shoulder. It's not illegal. Did you know that? It's not unlawful. As long as you're out of the way of traffic, got your hazards, all of that. But Katie Wright held a news conference Thursday to present her case to the public. She said she stopped her sedan on a highway to record officers in the middle of a traffic stop, and that's what you're supposed to do. And there's nothing wrong with stopping on the... I see people stopped on the freeway in every state I've been in. I've seen people stopped on the highway. North Carolina, Alabama, Texas, Arizona, California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. All these states I've been to, some highway I've been on, there's been somebody stopped on the side of the road. And I don't want to get into specifics. Some of you may go, well, you don't need your hazards. Okay, I get the specifics of it. I'm just saying it's okay to stop on the shoulder of a highway. It's nothing wrong with that. People stop. Maybe you have an emergency or something. Maybe you have to tinkle. But Wright said, I pulled over to the shoulder, stopped to record to make sure that those babies, 2 young kids, they had to have been in their 20s to make sure they got home safe, because we know we have a police problem in Minnesota. Mrs. Wright, or Miss Wright, we have a police problem in the United States. Now, she said that all I was doing was my civic duty. Amen, sister. She said all I was doing was my civic duty to pull over and make sure that those babies got home safe to their families, because I don't want what happened to me to happen to any other families. Daunte Wright was 20 when he was fatally shot by Kim Potter, who was convicted. And then it tells you a little bit about what happened with that. We know that she said, taser, 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 and shot the guy in the car, and then she was freaking out. Oh my God, I shot him! Yeah, because you're stupid and you don't know the difference between a taser and a gun. Some people may go, well, they're guns, they're the same. No, one's kind of heavy because it's got rounds in it, and one's kind of lighter because it's a taser. That history was personal for Katie Wright, as she pointed her camera at officers from the same agency that stopped her son in 2021. It's the same police department. One of 3 Brooklyn Center officers at the scene initially motioned for Wright to keep moving. The suburban police department said in a statement she did not comply. And we all know sometimes they say that when you're 35 feet away. Keep moving. Go. Get out of here. You're interrupting our investigation. And you're like, dude, I'm way the hell over here. What am I, like Mr. What's his name from the Fantastic Four? Mr. Rubber, I'll call him. I forget. I know Johnny Flame, and I know, the Thing. What am I talking about? But no, sometimes you're like far away and they're going, can you move along? You're like, what the hell? I'm way over here, dude. As cars are zipping back and forth on the highway, right? Another law enforcement agency, which was not named, had requested the department's help with the stop, which involved a homicide investigation. Now, after the stop was deemed to be under control, one of the 3 Brooklyn Center officers confronted Wright. The officer approached her because one of the people subjected to the traffic stop objected to being recorded. Tough Titty said to Kitty. Who cares if they objected? I don't want to be recorded. Then stay out of public. Go home and shut the curtains. His or her feelings do not trump Katie Wright's rights. Woo! Where did I go with that? Yeah, I forgot her name was Wright. But his or her feelings don't trump Katie Wright's rights. Feelings don't trump rights. I don't want to be recorded. I don't care. I'm going to record anyway. For accountability, not only for the cops, but now for you, because you don't want to be recorded. You must be doing something wrong. Now, as one of our officers was assisting in detaining a person from the high-risk stop, the person being detained stated she did not want to be filmed and wanted the person to stop filming. The officer crossed busy lanes of Highway 252 to get to Wright. She said her wrist was injured when the officer pulled her from the vehicle, took her phone from her hand, and put it on the roof of her car.
Your driver's license. What's that? You're going to give me your driver's license or I'm going to take you to jail for obstructing. You're driving a vehicle. You're going to go to...
Take me to jail. Just here, come to here, come where I'm at.
Okay.
You know who I am, right?
No, I have no idea
My name is
who you are.
Katie Wright.
Okay.
And I promise you guys killed my son, and I'm going to videotape it. And if you take me to jail, I will sue you.
The officer, who has not been identified, indicated Wright would be getting some kind of ticket in the mail. Now, it was not clear from body camera video whether he specified what violations he had in mind. Probably felonious filming. You know, because if somebody says, I don't want to be recorded, the cops can go, stop recording, I'm going to arrest you for felonious filming. Misdemeanor media. NBC affiliate CARE, K-A-R-E, of Minneapolis St. Paul, reported that one possibility was a citation for failing to comply with an officer's order not to stop on a highway. Is that a thing in Minnesota? Let me know. Now, there may be a superseding right to observe police. However, Wright threatened to sue the department over the stop. Wright said the officer told her she was being arrested. Once I told him who I was, he let me go. Damn straight he did. I'm Katie Wright. I'm the mother of Daunte Wright. Oh, sorry. You know, that happened with Rodney King, too, by the way. Did you know that? I talked to a couple of Rialto, say it correctly, police officers in Rialto, California, who, that's where Rodney King had ended up moving to. He was living in Rialto. At the time of his death, that's where he was also. And but the Rialto police officers had said anytime there was a domestic call at Rodney King's house, the police wouldn't respond. They would just call his attorney and say, you know, we've got a domestic issue going on. Can you have Mr. King come to our office? And the attorney the next morning would bring Rodney King down to the police station so that they could talk to him about the domestic call that they had received. That's what he said. He said, we can't even go to Rodney King's house. We have to literally call his attorney to get in touch with Mr. Rodney King. Mr. Rodney King, they said. So, you know, coming back here, you have this one with Daunte Wright, who was shot by Kim Potter, and now this cop grabs her, and she goes, I'm Katie Wright. I'm the mother of Daunte Wright. Sorry, I let go. Now, there is normally no right to privacy from cameras in public setting, and it is unclear why police believe they had a role in fulfilling the wish of a subject of a police stop not to be recorded. Yeah, his wish is not a lawful command. I don't want to be recorded. Well, I don't know what to tell you because this is America and she has the right to do that. That's what I tell cops here. When cops say, hey, he doesn't want to be recorded. I don't care. You're going to be recorded. And people say, well, you're a dick. Well, you're a did. Well, you're a jerk. You're a prick. Well, so be it. You know, do you think George Floyd wanted to be recorded? Do you think George Floyd's brother would be upset about somebody recording George Floyd? Do you think Breonna Taylor's family is upset about her video being released to the public? No, they want it to be known. What's the thing? Say her name. So when these people say, I don't want to be recorded, tough. Because some people do want to be recorded. And I'm not going to pick and choose, well, this one doesn't and this one does. You see police interaction, you record it. The American Civil Liberties Union of Washington, D.C., the ACLU, said in a primer on photographers' rights, taking photographs and video of things that are plainly visible in public spaces is a constitutional right. Now, the ACLU of Minnesota noted that it successfully defended a woman, Amy Jo Cooperman, who was criminally charged with interfering with law enforcement after she recorded police in 2018 in the Minneapolis suburb of Robbinsdale. They successfully defended her. Cooperman, of course, sued the city, alleging it violated her First and Fourth Amendment rights to record and speak to police and to not be cited with obstructing justice for exercising her constitutional rights. A lot of big words in there. And it goes on a little longer here if you want to read the whole thing. The gist of it is, and I tried not to be lengthy, but I think all I've said had to be said. That, look, if you see the police, do like Katie Wright did. Stop, get out, and record. Okay, if the people say, I don't want to be recorded, say, I don't care.
Here's what the City of Brooklyn Center had to say tonight. Just after 8 o'clock last night, Brooklyn Center officers were assisting another agency in a high-risk stop on Highway 252 related to a homicide investigation. One of the people who was being detained stated she did not want to be filmed and wanted the person filming to stop. The person filming was later determined to be Katie Wright. Now, once that high-risk stop was determined to be safe, an officer went over to speak with Wright. That interaction was caught on body cam, which the city says it released to promote public safety and dispel rumor or unrest.
Who's to say that this guy actually said he didn't want to be recorded? What if the cop was just saying that? Sometimes cops go, they have a right to privacy. Well, then take them somewhere private. But the gist of it is, if you see the police, record. If they say, hey, you can't be doing that. Well, tough. I'm doing it anyway. You might be a jerk. You might be a prick. But you know what? It all comes down to, how do we choose? You know what I mean? Who gets to say? Well, this one said, I don't want to be. Okay, I won't do it. This one said, either we are going to exercise our Bill of Rights, or we're going to compromise our Bill of Rights, or we're just not going to exercise our Bill of Rights at all. I say A. Let's exercise our Bill of Rights. And if someone says stop, people say, well, I have a right not to be recorded in public. Yeah, you go home, you shut the door, you shut your drapes. Because there's nothing saying you have a right not to be recorded in public. Nothing says that. But there is a First Amendment that says I have the right to record in a public space.